it going? Welcome back to Servin Sonic. You're here with Lee. You're here with Jake. You're here with DJ. I went DJ first. We talked about this.
No, it's
rapper
true. It's
first.
true.
Rapper, DJ, author, writer, poet laureate. There's another thing too. We talked about
Polaris Prize
winner.
Yeah.
Cadence Weapon. Welcome, Cadence Weapon, to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. You know, it's okay to start with DJ because, you know, people don't know unless they see me DJ, but low key, I may be a better DJ than I am a rapper.
Wow.
I'm a nasty DJ.
Well, I've listened to your ISO sets. I've listened to one of your ISO sets before, and this was not the first thing I thought we were going to go into, but I'm very happy that we're going into the DJ set first. But because your dad was a DJ, right?
Yeah.
And do you think now you're like, okay, this is it. This is my calling. I'm just going to DJ on ISO radio from here on out. Rapping. I won the Polaris. Don't need to do it anymore.
I've peaked.
Yeah. Your words. I didn't say that. That. But yeah, what's the interest in DJing? Or is that directly from your dad, you think?
You know, not really, because it's like, you know, I grew up, you know, in a library of music. I've just always been really interested in music. And I always felt like my taste was so different from my dad. And like, he never wanted me to be a DJ. He was please don't do it. You don't want this life, you know? But then, you know, I just got into it. I was always I had an archival mind, you know? And so I love DJing. I love it. Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome.
And I've said from the get-go, I'm actually going to show you, I'll show you this screenshot that I have here. I've said from the get-go, for this podcast, you are the perfect guest to have for this podcast. Because as you already know, 1 foot of our podcast is in Alberta. That's Jake. The other is in Toronto, which is me. And literally, if you look at our interview targets, I made this a year and like 2 months ago when we started the podcast. Number 1 interview targets, Cadence Weapon, baby.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
Right at the top. And you represent that better. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we put it out in the universe. It gave it to us.
So we've peaked as well.
Yeah, this is it for us.
Yeah.
We'll move to DJing.
No, I love it. Pivot to DJing now. It's perfect.
Awesome, for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of my first questions was going to be because coming from Calgary, I've never felt, and I think most people, when they think of like a birthplace for, I mean, you know, you're known sort of as Canada's, or by many people, Canada's like most creative rapper. You have this like laundry list of acclaim, and I feel like Edmonton is not usually the place people think of when they think of like exciting new music, especially hip hop. And so my first question was going to be like, how did this happen? But then this morning I started reading the memoir, and that first chapter really answers that question. So I feel kind of silly asking it now, but maybe to not give too much in the book away. Do you want to tell us a little bit about sort of like your history, your come up, if you will?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's a very unlikely story. That's the thing. You know, rap is not known for coming from Alberta internationally, nationally, or anything. So, you know, growing up, also, I wasn't really aware of any local scene until, you know, I got old enough to go to the bar, really. And then I was like, oh, damn, there is rap from here, you know? So for me, yeah, it was just a very personal journey where I was just kind of, a lot of it was on the internet, you know, going on message boards, rapping against other people on the message boards, typing up lyrics and sending them to people, and like just kind of creating my own like international music scene before I had a local one, you know?
Right.
I feel like the way I see it, and pardon me if this is too conceited, but it's kind of like how Bob Dylan comes from Minnesota.
Right.
You know,
right,
and then
right.
moved to New York or whatever, you know, that's like Edmonton to Toronto or something, you know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I feel that.
Do you feel like you're infiltrating those scenes with like your specific sound too? Like, because I feel like in terms of Canadian hip hop specifically, you were one of the first I ever heard doing like the dance music, house music, electronic kind of splicing with hip hop as well. And now you look at someone like Drake making a whole dance record, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was doing that in 2008.
exactly, yeah. And it's like, do you think like that's just like they're late to the party with that, and like that really comes from like you and those like early beginnings, or do you have a different take on that?
I feel like there's a couple ways of seeing it. I mean, I feel like it's, I think I definitely moved the conversation left with whatever I put out. Like I'm always doing something different. Like ever since from the very beginning, I always wanted to do something that people had never heard before. And I felt like, as a result, I end up doing things a little bit ahead of the curve. And that might sound cool, but it's actually really annoying because when I put on my album, people were like, I don't get it. And then like 5 years later, it's like Kanye doing it or something.
Yeah.
So I do think there is a bit of that, but it's also just a thing about time. I think eventually music just ebbs and flows, right? And it's, I feel like if you even go back to the beginning of hip hop, like think about like Planet Rock, it has that dance beat, that electronic element. I feel like everything I'm doing is really at the core of hip hop, no matter what I'm doing,
Sure. Yeah. Like that's part of hip hop is like breaking new ground.
Yeah. And just getting funky over a dance beat. That's like, that's super rap shit,
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Shout out to Drake though. Shout out to Drake.
Yeah.
Two sprinters to Quebec.
Yeah, let's go.
That's hard.
You have so many incredible features on this album and like throughout your discography, I guess. Is there anybody that you're really looking forward to collaborating with in the future, or that you wish you could, or that you hope you will one day?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think one of the number one artists I want to collab with is JPEG Mafia. And, like we know of each other, we're friends and stuff, and it just hasn't happened. Like I actually wanted to get him on my last record, but it wasn't possible at the time. But yeah, he's somebody for sure. I mean, I just think of like artists who really inspire me. Charlie XCX, I would love to work with her. Just people who are really good at pushing the conversation forward. Like right. I love artists who are fearless and are, open to innovating and being creative. I think one day I'd love to work with Kanye. Madlib is another person. I was this close to working with it, and it didn't happen. I got a pack of beats.
Wow.
But then it didn't. They were amazing. I've heard all these Madlib beats that nobody heard.
Yeah,
but
that's crazy.
Just didn't. That's the thing with beats and samples. This industry. It's a wild game, babe.
Yeah, for sure. Like you. So I've heard you talk about JPEG Mafia and Charlie XCX before, of like potential collaborators in the future. But something that I really, like respect you for, and I think a lot of people really appreciate about your music, especially from Canada, is how much Canadian talent you put on the scene, or try to expose. Some of those names that just come off the top of the head are like Koreatown Acid or K Tronada. I know was already kind of blowing up at the time, but was on your record 2 albums ago now.
Well, actually, the funny thing about that too is we had made that song like years before that.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it was like because I met him when I lived in Montreal, and it was before he put any albums out or anything.
Okay.
And I was just like, I just happen to be in the right place at the right time a lot.
Right.
And maybe it's like that thing. It's like what is it? The code of attraction, or what is it? The
law of attraction.
Law of attraction.
Kanye West.
Kanye West.
Yeah.
The law of attraction. Yeah, it's like yeah. Spiritual, lyrical, miracle. Like that's, yeah. But it's like one of those things where it's like I often am around artists like before they blow up, or like I don't know. Maybe I should quit rapping and be an A&R. Wow. Because it keeps happening. Like it's like I was friends with Grimes like before she had made a note of music.
Right. Wow.
Like it's just like weird shit, And I try and use that in my own music now more nowadays, because back then it was just something in my life that just kept happening, and then I would never have any music with the person, and then nobody would believe me. But now I really I like getting in on the ground floor and working with new artists. One person I think is really an amazing artist based in Montreal. Her name is Tess Roby.
Okay.
I really like her music a lot, and I definitely really want to work with her soon. And she's a friend of mine, and it's just so much talent in Canada that it goes undiscovered, you know. And I feel like it's just the nature of the Canadian music industry. It's like really small, and you know, it really bends towards who has the PR money and who has, you know, the most power or whatever. And I'm always looking for what's the coolest thing, you know, and that's like what leads me like, oh, I got to do, as soon as I heard Backwatch, it's like, I got to do a track with her.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like as soon as I hear, you know, certain artists like Jacques Green, I was like, this man is a kindred spirit. Like we gotta work, you know, and it's, you know, been the best creative collaboration I've ever had, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I feel like you say like right place, right time, but at the same time, it's like a lot of your collaborations and just your sound in general is like so surprising. Like I remember I've followed Braids since way back in the day. Like they were sort of a big deal in Calgary. I mean, still are like such a big deal. Like they were,
they're my friends.
They're the best. Like so cool. And you did that collab with their other project, Blue Hawaii.
Blue Hawaii.
Yeah. And I had never thought in a million years that I would hear like a hip hop track from them, like with you. And so it's really unique, like where you pull a lot of your inspiration from. Do you think that has to do with like you kind of said, and in the book you talk about like you spend a lot of time on like forums and like the internet and stuff? Like,
yeah, that's a part of it.
Crate digging and yeah.
Well, I have just this insane like musical curiosity, and it does come from being like a digger. It comes from being just, I love all kinds of music. You know, that's the thing is like when I first came on the scene, it's like people are like, oh, he's a rapper, he makes his beats or whatever. And it's like I feel like media tries to pigeonhole you into like a particular space. And it's like, to me, things that are surprising to everybody else seem very obvious to me. Like I felt like, you know, knowing Blue Hawaii, like I heard the beats. I heard like, you know, Agor, the production, like I was like, he can make beats. Let's do it. Like I'm always the person who suggests to somebody else, try this with me. And it's something they never thought they would do, you know, and then it ends up being a cool thing. And it's like, I feel like that's a producer thing in me where I'm like always like looking to combine things that people wouldn't expect. You know, it's like,
right.
Like for instance, you know, On Me, you know, there's something kind of like unlikely about that song. I'm making basically a UK grime track with like a legend with Manga. And the producer is a guy from Australia who I had been checking his music for a while, and I knew that he made grime, even though he was in Australia. I was like, yo, do you think you could make like a beat that's like one of those old Danny Weed, like early UK grime beats? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And he fucking nailed it. And it's like, I'm always like, I feel like Parallel World has a lot of examples like that where, you know, I feel like a song like Water is almost more conventional, but it's like, and it's me and an American rapper, and we're like doing this back and forth thing, but it's just like so bugged out that there's just something a little bit off about it. No matter what I do, like I'm like eye to eye, I'm like, I'm going to make a drill track. And it still is the most conscious drill song like ever. Like it's always going to be weird when it comes through my lens, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Do you think that's like hard to maybe not live up to is the right phrase, but like, do you ever feel like a sense of pressure to like remain weird, if you know what I mean? You know, like, dude, if I could weird.
No, man, no. If I could be normal, it would solve a lot of problems in my life. There's no way I could never be. Yeah. You know, it's like it just comes really naturally to me. You know, it's like that's the first thing I think is the weirdest idea.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it takes me really a long time to like. Honestly, I would be like sleeping upside down in the closet. You know, like, and that would be the normal thing to me. And like, it took time for people to tell me, "Yo, you can sleep in a bed. It's normal."
Yeah.
You know, like I'm always searching for the most like bugged out thing. You know, and I feel like, you know, sometimes it happens in rap where people kind of mellow with age or whatever. You know, like I feel like I think, I don't know, no matter what I do, even though I do like an ambient album, like it's still gonna have that edge. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get that. Something just on a different note here that I personally really appreciate about you as someone who loves both sports and music. You're a big sports fan. You've been seen rocking the classic Toronto Raptors Dino jersey. You pull it off well.
Thank
And, you made your song Connor McDavid, about local legend there. Do you, so there's that saying, right, where every athlete wants to be a musician, every musician wants to be an athlete. Where do you fall in that Venn diagram?
Yeah, that's 100% true.
You wanted to score the game-winning goal or have hoop dreams.
Oh man, I got big hoop dreams. When I was a kid, I used to be like a child prodigy. Like I was like scoring 40 points a game and shit.
Actually?
Yes. Wow. I played basketball like my whole life. I still do. And I still am pretty nasty.
Yeah, okay. Well, I need you on my men's league team. We just got whipped by 30 on Sunday.
Oh, no.
So if we could get a quick 40 from Rolly, that would be nice.
Yeah, for sure. I come through, but defense wins championships, okay?
That's where you lost me. You lost me almost immediately. You said as soon as the D came out of your mouth, I was zoning out.
Yeah, man. No, man. I've been hooping for a minute. And that is totally true. And it's also the thing where rappers want to be comedians and comedians want to be rappers.
Yes.
Right. It's the same thing.
It's always just greener.
Yeah. It's just like another form of expression. And there's just like a kinship between athletes and musicians and just like other entertainers. Because we all end up in stadiums.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like once you get to that level and you're playing these like huge like festivals and whatever, it's like you're kind of like, I'm going to be playing Calgary Folk Fest, and it's like, damn, I wish I could be telling some jokes.
Yeah.
Or something, Like, it's like when I'm doing my banter, I'm like, let me try a joke.
Well, I think like you have there's a comedy to your rap, like even with, or to your lyrics,
sure.
like, I mean, it's come out throughout your whole career, but even with Parallel World, a lot of really heavy subject matter, but you still find like ways to get little like quips in there. And little jokes off. And I think that's something that I really appreciate about your style of rap too. It's very Kanye-esque, right? Where it's like, he has these little quips like in the middle of, random thoughts that he's putting out there. So
yeah, I'm glad you observed that, cause not a lot of people have. And that was the number one thing is it's like, I wanted to do this thing. It's like truth and jest, and I feel like I studied a lot of stand-up comedy when I was working on Parallel World. Actually, like I was watching old Chris Rock specials and like Richard Pryor specials and seeing how they would set up jokes and how they would like, especially about race, they were just experts at doing this, at taking these big concepts around race and making them really succinct and really effective punchlines,
Right.
And so I was like, how can I do that in my music? How can I translate that to my music? So I'm glad you observed that because, I feel like that's one of the best ways to get a message across to somebody. It's like people don't want to taste the medicine.
Yeah, it takes the edge off.
So you need to put a little honey with it or something.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Yeah, and there is this album in particular is like very I don't want to say political, but maybe political is the right word, but like socio-political maybe.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, and like some of the stuff you tackle is like systemic racism. There's and in surveillance tech, which is a concept I had to read about it after I listened to what's the track? Eye to Eye is the track. On Me is the
one with the surveillance.
Yeah, right. And like taking direct shots at Justin, which were great. And I felt like what was striking to me about it was that I felt like it had been missing a little bit from like I hadn't heard that in a while in hip hop or just music in general. Like I'm not hearing a lot of celebrities like using their platforms in the same way that like maybe like in the 90s in particular with like punk and like so many genres were sort of the counterculture and were making really important statements. And you're doing that on this album, and it was like sort of a callback, but at the same time, like super contemporary issues like technology and shit like that. And I guess, I don't know if I have a question. Maybe the question is like, why those issues and in particular, sorry, this is a really long question, but you make mention of the development in Toronto in Little Jamaica. I lived in Toronto for like 5 years or so. So I know the area a little bit. And so I guess like why these issues, and in particular that one, and maybe why are they missing from music these days, do you think? Or if you have a thought on that.
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on this. Okay.
Okay.
So let me just kind of unwrap this because that was a hella long question.
I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that was like a really conscious decision for me when I was working on this album. Is I wanted to bring back a certain spirit that I've always really liked in older music. I wanted to bring back that energy of like the Clash, Public Enemy, Gil Scott-Heron, Nina Simone, like this idea of Sly Stone, like these kind of records that are political and they're talking about social issues and they're speaking to the time that they're in, but it's actually banging tracks.
Right.
That's the other thing, is like I didn't want to be pedantic and just be like standing on my soapbox the whole time and not having anything to back it up. Right. So I really wanted to do that because those are a lot of my favorite artists and some of my favorite records. And I did notice that there had been a lack of that in recent years. I feel like part of it is people are afraid to offend any segment of the audience. I think a lot of artists, one of the worst things that happen to artists is the idea of thinking of yourself as a brand, because brands, they have to be as accessible to as many people as possible. And, that's something, my thing is I wanted to be fearless, with everything that I'd done on this record. I was just like, listen, now is the time to talk about this because these issues are kind of in the air. They're in the ether. And I know I can speak to them, and I know I have like a particular viewpoint about them. And I started feeling more of a responsibility to do it because no one else is going to do it. And I know that I can speak to it, so that's really why I went so hard on that. Like I couldn't believe that no rapper had mentioned Justin Trudeau in blackface, and I was like, come on, man. Like, are we going to pretend this never happened? Or, like, I think there is also that fear that like a lot of Canadian rappers, they don't want to talk about Canada. They don't want to admit that they live here or whatever,
Sure.
Like I'd never been like that. So I was just like, well, let me just talk about some Canadian shit. Let me get my jokes off. Let me like diss a bunch of politicians, like I was just like, let it rip. It's like the world's ending. Like, who gives a fuck? Why hold back?
Right.
So that was like really my thought process for that. But like regarding Little Jamaica, like I lived in the area for a few years, and it was just so brazen, just the gentrification that was happening, and just like I was seeing all these businesses close, and I started doing more research about it because like I wrote an article in Hazlitt about what was happening in Little Jamaica, and I started doing all this research about other examples of transit-based gentrification where Black people and communities were displaced for all across North America. And I started seeing that it was like a trend. It was something that happened like very frequently, whether it's, in Halifax with Africville. And that's like where I started getting hype about like Africville's revenge and wanting to like write about this community. Or even in New York, like part of Times Square used to be like this Black community, and they just bulldozed the entire area just so they could make the park.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Vibey. Yo. KTA, yeah, we go all day, yeah. Came from the future when I was a youth, now I feel well suited. You could say Taylor, don't accept failure, don't expect shit but my check in the mail. Rock chain mail, I don't need no vest. Might divest if it's disrespect. I invest, watch it gain interest, then I lose interest. Got me like, what's next, what's next, what's next? Yeah, what's next? Living in the past, now you can't progress. Can't process, feeling like Joel, cause I might just cry about my respect. Need receipts before I reset. OG flexes and no repress. No regrets, no I won't regress. Don't play no games, don't do recess. Hey, no I don't play no games. Yeah. Okay. No I don't play no games. Yo, look. Don't project on my project. This ain't a screening, more like a reading. You can get read. Shout out to Tool Man, Tribe Called Red. You can get judged, just like Dread. When the skin's dark, it look like a setup. If the skin's white, he won't go to the feds. Got me upset, got me fed up. But a closed mouth don't get fed. Those old ways must get shed. Find a new path you can tread. Have no trust in the ones who've led. Yo. Sometimes don't want to show face, but I know I must face the facts. My prime minister wears blackface, but he don't really want to face blacks. You know I don't play no games. No. You know I don't play no games at all. Yeah. You don't know me like contestants on Big Brother, but Big Brother does know me. Everything is hand in his eye can reach. Got me like preach, brand new church, head in the cloud, now it just got breached. Way too peak, got you thinking of worse like a spinal tap. How your brain got leaked. Drafts got leaked. Gotta find an app so you can't delete. All depressed, got you under the rest, about to lose your life all over a tweet. Feel like Martin on Blue Streak. Too much fame, make you tweak. Out in the streets, got you weak. Hope that the cash don't breach the peace. No. You know I can't play no games. Yeah, you know we ain't play no games. Hey. Too much fame make you tweak. Yeah. Martin on Blue Streak. Yeah. You know I don't play no games.
I think like with Parallel World too, like, do you think, because you've been nominated for the Polaris multiple times before Parallel, and
yeah, this is my third.
Even. Yeah,
it's my third time shortlisted. Yeah,
yeah, and then obviously with Parallel World, you broke through and finally won. Do you think that's a big reason why? Is because like this is your most like, yeah, again, I don't want to say political, but it's your most like maybe like brash, like for like you're really just putting it out there, like it's pretty forthcoming. Do you think that's a reason why you finally, like, you know, took home that honor of like the Polaris Prize winner? Because I think Canadians see that as, or at least Canadian music fans see that as the award to win for music, right? It's not the Junos, It's not whatever else, it's the Polaris Prize.
Yeah, I never got nominated for a Juno before.
Really?
Never.
I didn't know that.
No, they
That's whack.
They don't know me.
Oh, come! But Madlib knows you. They know you.
They follow me on Twitter. I played.
Well, you're a great follow, so that's fair.
Yeah, I played Juno Fest or whatever whenever they come to town. But no, I've never been nominated. I don't know what's gonna take. Yeah,
that's wild to me.
Maybe I got to win a Grammy first.
Probably more likely, honestly.
Yes. To answer your question, I definitely think that's true. I think there's something about this record. It's just really uncompromising, and it's just a pure expression of who I am.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I feel like in previous albums, I don't think it was a conscious decision to hold back or something, but I felt like maybe there are moments where, you know, on my self-titled album where like I would maybe hedge a little bit and have stuff that was maybe, you know, at that moment I'd moved to Toronto. I wanted to make some Toronto rap. I wanted to make some like contemporary sounding rap music, right. You know, or like, you know, maybe I was just preoccupied with the different styles of music I was making, you know, because like Hope in Dirt City was like all live band. And I was obsessed with like the technique of how I was going to make that album. Or like, you know, After Party Babies was like all house and techno and stuff. And I was like, okay, like I was just so into the craft or whatever. I feel like Parallel World is the album where I focused on the lyrics more than ever. And I was really like, I wanted there to be nothing that you could take off the page. I wanted every line to hit, you know, I wanted it to be very concise, very incisive, and very just like unrelenting, you know, like I feel like just everything from the lyrics to the actual beats, it's very just like, wow, you know,
Sure.
And I feel like this is something I've learned over the years just from my other musician friends and stuff. Like, I feel like the more that you put in your record, the more of yourself that you express in the record, the closer it gets to a complete representation of who you are, the more the audience will respond to it. And it took me a long time to figure that out.
Sure.
And I think when I first started making music, I was like trying to make music to repel people. I was like, fuck the world.
Yeah, yeah.
That was my whole shit. Breaking kayfabe was just like, fuck everybody. Nobody understands me. I'm a mutant. I hate y'all. Let's go.
Well,
I'm
even
the
like
best.
the album cover, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's in that same vein of like, you know, kind of like I'm I'm making my
Screw
gross
face.
face half you. Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
screw face. Yes, exactly. Whereas, you know, I found a way to express myself and be uncompromising and have it encapsulated in an album that a lot of people could appreciate. So I found a really good balance with this record. Like, I don't know, I was so single-minded about working on it when I was working on it, and I think the results speak for themselves, you know?
Yeah, well, like even so you reference your self-titled there, and like the song Destination comes to mind, where you can see the beginnings of that, right? Like you can see the step that you took to get to Parallel World, where you're talking about real world things that happen to people all the time.
When some people see my face, all they see is race.
Like exactly, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
but then now you take that and you measure it against the blackface lyric in Parallel World, and even how you paste that lyric to be a stop at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like resonate and sit with that for a second. Sit with what I just said. Yeah, you can see the logical step, but yeah, you're definitely you put it to like 100 on Parallel World, and I think that's I mean you're right. It does speak for itself. So
That's a cool observation, man. You know, I think I was inching more and more towards that and feeling more confident to express myself in that way. But it, you know, really the thing that set me off was just George Floyd murder and the protests that came from that, and just seeing so many people, you know, getting together, you know, Black Lives Matter, and just the galvanizing force of social movement, you know, really spoke to me. I was just like, why would I hold back now? You know, before that happened, I wasn't even like thinking about putting out an album. I wasn't thinking about making an album. I was like, I'm not doing anything. You know, when the pandemic hit, I was just like, okay, I can't even like engage with this. I'm like not leaving my house, and hopefully everything will work out. You know, this keep the Serb coming. Like, you know, like like I had no idea what I was going to be doing. But then it was just, that was like the kind of lightning bolt thing that happened, where I was just like, fuck, I need to talk about this. I need to speak to this.
sure.
Right. Wow. So we've established that you've peaked, right? Is there anything up and coming? I'm just kidding. Well, what's next?
Oh man, I'm working on all kinds of shit. I'm almost done another album, actually.
Wow.
Let's
Crazy.
go.
Yeah, I've been just frittering away at it as well. It's been really hard just with all the festivals, and I actually just moved to Hamilton.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
The Hammer.
Yeah.
On the come up that city.
Yeah, I know. I'm a Hamilton resident now, as of a week ago.
Yeah.
Will
we see you at Supercrawl this year, perhaps?
Yeah. You'll see me in those streets. I'm getting married that weekend.
Oh,
wow,
well,
congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of shit happening right now.
Yeah.
But
sounds like it. Jesus.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm like really far into this next album, and I'm really excited about it. It's got some really, I feel like it's a way more electronic album. It's a lot of it is about technology. I'm going further into the technology, going further into social media, and really kind of analyzing, you know, the artist as gig worker kind of paradigm, you know?
Nice. Yeah. Do you have any exclusive hot button piece of information that Servin Sonic can stake its claim to? Yeah. Do you have a quick little tidbit for the fans?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I got production by Lorraine James on there.
Let's go.
Which you know, she's one of my favorite artists. One of the most groundbreaking artists in the world. I feel like now it's like I'm so happy because all the freaky artists that I like, I know them now.
Yeah.
and we have this like transatlantic black freaky music pipeline going, you know? Like she did a remix of On Me too. I was like, thank you, Lorraine. But yeah, That's a exclusive. We got a song. It's called.
We'll put
it's called
in post. We'll have a sick graphic that comes along, like Servin Sonic exclusive.
Coming soon. It's called EFT.
Oh, amazing! I'm excited for that. Well, let's get to our spicy staple that you brought here. This is something that we ask every single interviewee to do, which is bring us an album that's inspired them, really important to them. And you brought one. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really expect.
1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Because I want to, I have a visual aid for it.
Let's go.
This is my spicy staple.
Boom.
Hey.
There you go.
Nice.
Still in the plastic.
Iconic.
Yes.
We got David Bowie's Low. Tell us about it.
So I am a really big Bowie fan. I feel like, an artist who was very uncompromising, who he changed all the time. He would really engage with the music that was happening at the time. And I feel like this is a great example of that. Like the Berlin trilogy, all the stuff he did with Tony Visconti and Eno, and he was working with Iggy Pop at the same time. I just feel like it's such an exploratory piece of music that was also commercially viable, and it's just something I'm always trying to reach for. It's like one of my, defining favorite albums that always gives me a bit of inspiration whenever I hear it.
Nice. Yeah. Do you want to cue up the song that we're listening to?
Yes. The song we're going to listen to is such an odd little track. It's called Breaking Glass. And I've always loved this song. The drum sound on it is so strange and so weird. They did with the Eventide processor, making some crazy echo effects there, and it's gated in a cool way. And a lot of people have tried to bite this drum sound. And the song is just this kind of impressionistic, lyrical, weird track. And it's, I feel like I'm always trying to have the spirit of wildness that is in this song with everything that I'm working on.
Nice. Yeah. That was the best cue up we've had from an interview, I think.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, let's get to it. Breaking Glass, and we'll be back with Rolly after this.
Banger.
Very sick.
That song is so fire. You're such a wonderful person, but you got problems. Ooh, that's just so crazy. And he's talking about himself. That's the thing that is so cool is the Berlin trilogy and Low. It's just super self-reflective, and it was when he was coming off of being brutally addicted to drugs in America, in LA. and it's a very inspiring story to see somebody come off of substance abuse and make their best shit ever.
Sure.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you were talking earlier about artists who kind of they get tamer as time goes on. Not Bowie. Like Black Star was fucking nuts.
That record is wild as fuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. I mean this is what I'm saying. Like Bowie, that's the kind of artist I want to be. You know,
Yeah.
I want to be somebody like I could be married to Amon, or my Amon, Sarah is her name. Or I could be, and have kids and, Zoe Bowie or whatever. But I'm still coming with the heat. I'm still making like weird ass music. I'm still following my own muse, and I don't get moved or pushed around by any trends or anything that anybody else is doing with music.
Right.
Like I want to be like, my idols are like David Bowie, Brian Eno, like David Byrne,
Right.
like just Prince, just like people who are always changing. I love that because that's life, baby.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Definitely. And so you're playing tomorrow at Folk Fest.
Yeah, man.
Is there anybody you're particularly excited to check out while you're here?
Yeah, I noticed that the stage I'm playing has a lot of really cool artists at it. I'm pretty sure Luna Lee is playing. I could be
Toronto,
wrong.
baby.
I could be getting my festivals mixed up because I'm doing a bunch of them, but I'm pretty sure we're playing the same stage.
I know you guys are both at Hillside.
Oh, that might be Hillside.
Is it Hillside? Yeah.
Well, actually,
I mean,
right
it could
now
be both. Who knows?
Well, right now I was gonna go see these guys that I met in at Winnipeg Folk Fest. They're called Gangsta Grass.
Yeah, Gangsta Grass. Sick.
But they're playing right now, so I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Dang.
Okay, well maybe we shouldn't take up too much more of your time. We want you to make that show.
Need to get to Gangsta Grass.
Where else can people find you? We mentioned Hillside. We're at Calgary Folk Fest tomorrow. Anywhere else?
Yeah, man. I'm playing Regina Folk Fest. I'm also curating an amazing festival, Wavelength, in Toronto. At the end of August, I chose a bunch of bands. I'm playing 2 nights in a row, August 27th, 28th, I believe.
Wow.
And the lineups are super lit. I got one night is me and Uri from Montreal, who is shortlisted for Polaris this year.
Yeah.
And this other amazing artist, James Bailey. And the other night, I have Prince Innocence from Toronto. I've got JMKM, who is my tour DJ from Toronto, dope. And with Frieza Chen, they're going to be DJing. And yeah, it's
JMKM has DJ'd some of my favorite club nights I've ever been to in the city. She's sick.
She's a shredder, man, and she is a Calgary native.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's right. She's originally
Toronto person. Both, and I'm pretty sure does she not have a partner who's also a DJ too, like a fairly.
Well, yeah, that's Frieza Chen.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice, very cool. Wow, just the DJ inner circle right here, eh?
Oh yeah. Hey,
do you have a DJ name actually?
Oh, it's just Cadence Weapon.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Or Rolly.
Rolly, yeah. DJ Rolly.
Yeah.
That works out. Yeah.
Sick.
Well, that sounds awesome. I can't wait to hear more about that festival that you're curating. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, and like anybody who wants to know more info, check out my newsletter. I have a Substack newsletter, cadenceweapon.substack.com. I got, check me on Instagram, Twitter, at Cadence Weapon. I'm very online. I'm unfortunately very online.
Yeah, you listen to your music, you wouldn't think so, but again, you're one of the better Twitter followers, or Twitter follows, I think.
Oh, thank you. That's good. That's good to hear. Twitter's my favorite one.
Yeah, I engage a lot with your Raptors content, so anytime there's Raptors content, I'm up on that one. So
I'm glad you appreciate that. That's good.
I want more non-directly sports media Raptors content. Like I want just the average everyday people. I guess you're not an average everyday guy, but average everyday people. Raptors content is what I want.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's all different kinds of Raptors fans.
Yeah.
I still need the Raptors plug though. I need somebody from the Raptors to.
I'll show you the
get my music on during the game. I need 4 corners to play my music.
Oh yeah, true. There you go. DJ Circle. We're expanding the circle. I'll show you the type of Raptors fan I am. I'm the type of Raptors fan that has a signed Joey Graham plaque on his wall. There's about 4 people who would react like that to this signed Joey Graham plaque.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like if I had like a signed Grievous Vasquez poster. It was like so random.
Yeah.
Him doing the shimmy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, shouts out to my guy Joey Graham. Shouts out Grievous Vasquez. Without you, we wouldn't have a ship. So thank you all of you. But yeah, I guess the last question I have, unless you've got a burning question, Jake.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so last question
I
I
want
have
to get to his show.
Yeah, super quick one. Polaris shortlist. You already said that that the shortlist is out now, so that was just released I think like a week or 2 ago. And something I've seen going around is interviews with people who are on the short list. I saw one with Shad where they asked him if he could give advice on songwriting in 6 words. Now, you don't have to limit it to 6 words, but do you have advice for songwriters out there? Like, do you have a philosophy that you live by for songwriting to leave us with?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's 6 words or less.
If you want, you can use how many you want, but sure.
It's easy. I got 2. Be yourself.
Love it. We could triple it up for 6.
Be yourself. Be yourself.
Be yourself. Joey Graham. That's the
Joey Graham.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Grievous Vasquez.
Exactly. You've got it. Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. As I said, you were one of our earliest targets that we wanted to try and chat with. You're just such an inspiration to us here, and honestly, like so many musicians in Canada, man. So you're one of the goats of the country, my guy. So thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you. This was really fun. Thanks for having me. Yeah,
you should come back every week.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It wasn't that fun.
Well, you give an inch, you take a mile, my guy. That's what you got to do. But no, seriously, it was a great time. Enjoy the time at Calgary Folk Fest as well. Maybe you'll see Jake strolling along out there, and if not, then we'll catch you in the streets of Hamilton at Supercrawl.
For sure.
Awesome, man. All right, well, let's take it out with the Senna remix off of Parallel World. Thanks so much, Cadence Weapon. We'll catch you next time.
Peace out, y'all. Thank you.
Yo, new generation, grand so father. From day one, been a 5-star baller. Man, I sing boats like Spanish arm. I stand still in my ones, never been a shot baller. Take time, look hype on set, gonna get yourself in hot water. Or you're gonna see 6 packs if I go bare belly like lager. Ready for the wild north, heavy headed crime wall on. Raised in the northwest stars, I wear like Eminem's gang, get scum, gang slaughter. Palaver, number drama. Man, I get spun like a natural disaster. I said, man will get spun like a natural disaster. Truth is that man, no, I'm a brawler. Do my thing, never ever been a talker. Athlete, run roadside, not a walker. If you're on a joke, then stay in your corner. I'm just trying to get paid on full like AZ and Rich Porter. New generation, grand flow father. Logan North, I've been a top baller.
Sinner, 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 sinner. Sinner, 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 sinner. Sinner, 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 sinner. Right around town like my name's Sinner. Sinner, 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 sinner. Sinner, 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 sinner. Sinner, 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 sinner. Pour the champagne like my name's Sinner. When I'm on stage, yeah, the place get fill up. Trying to win the race like my last name's Senna. Eyes roll playing when I slide on the rhythm. Flow like a chick cane, might crash up your Civic MC. DJ, put a dash in the middle. Roll for a week, might pack up the rental, then smash instrumental. You don't want a clash guy hashing your system, that's mad detrimental. See you stammer and giggle. Went backstage, got a van and a limo. At hotel, better have presidential. I can pull strings like my hands on a fiddle. Might spray flames, put ash in the embers. Got great aim, no blast of the pistol. Might bring an Alberta flag on Kimmel. Don't bring your dog, take him back to the kennel. You don't want none with us. Green jacket on like my last name Bickle. Treat a rhyme scheme like I master the riddle. And your whole scene takes cut when I'm finished. And your whole team put a stop to your scrimmage. Cut a room floor, might alter your image. Kill the spotlight, put a halt to the gimmicks. How'd he get on? Your fault to the critics. Hit the asphalt, dash off, I'm a menace. I'm not afraid to be who I am, you know. I always tell people, be yourself. That's the number one shit I tell people. I don't follow anybody else. I never did. Idiosyncratic and iconoclastic. I am me, motherfucker. Be you. Sinner, 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 sinner. Sinner, 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 sinner.